Hello LinkedIn. It's been a huge amount of time since I've done a video, and I'm doing a clair and doing one on the back of a run, so I'm a bit out of breath, but you know what, done is better than perfect. It doesn't matter whether you don't have to turn up with your hair all in place looking absolutely amazing. It's fine to just show up as you are. What am I going to talk about? While I was running, I was thinking about how humans are wired for short-term gain, not long-term goals. And so many of us set habits that are unobtainable. They fall into the all or nothing patterns. So I'm going to do something every day, and then they don't manage it. And they don't manage it because it's not obtainable to do things every day. And so we'd be better setting something in the middle. So you don't need to do an all pattern that sets you up to fail, and then when you fail you fall into a guilt shame cycle that says I'm rubbish, I'm useless, I can't do this, and then you have to start all over again. What is much better to do is, if you don't manage something, you can just apply some compassion. I didn't manage it, maybe I was too tired. I didn't go to run club last night because I was just flat. I had nothing left. I was actually really emotional. I had a cry, something happened that just had me falling over, and I went to bed instead and cried and tried to get some sleep. But what I can do is know that I'm going to be at run club next week, and that I'm going to be a bit behind, so I can do my homework on any given day. I can catch up, it'll all be good. Yeah. The other thing we do is we set too big a chunks, and so we fail. If it's hard to do and you're procrastinating, whether it's the run, whether it's the walk, whether it's that report you don't want to write, psychologically, if you make it smaller, you're much more likely to get it done. So you can tell yourself you're going for a 10-minute run, or you're just going to work on that report for 15 minutes, 10 minutes even, because actually the hardest bit is getting started. It's that battle in your head to get it done. And so if you set a small goal, you're more likely to achieve it. And the other thing we need to do is we need to apply our dopamine reward in a different place. What do I mean by that? I mean, whatever you do, you praise yourself for it. You say, it doesn't matter how small the effort is, I'm going to give myself a reward because I tried, because I put in some effort, it took courage to get out or to get that task done. And so what we can do is we can keep rewarding ourselves as we go along. That allows us to keep going. If you keep denying the effort that you've made and cancelling it out because it's not big enough, or it's not what's the word? I've lost my words. Because it's not big enough, or it's not consistent enough, then you keep dropping into the guilt shame cycle again. So what we know, that tough love doesn't work. It's just shaming, and it drops you back down, and you have to keep picking yourself back up. What's much better to do is apply some compassion. I didn't make it today, but I can catch up. Yeah, so we can change that mindset, the way we think about things, and it does take work. It's easy to say change your thinking, change your behaviour, but you know I'm not about that. I'm not about that because bodies throw on the brakes, and sometimes we're so paralysed we can't get something done, and we may have to really tiptoe into the uncomfortableness of it at a pace our body can tolerate. Too big, it's traumatizing. Too small, and we don't attach any dopamine reward to it. We don't give ourselves a congratulations. And so we're wired for short-term gain. So if you take the short-term wins, they build up. No little bit is too small. It doesn't matter if it's tiny bits. You don't have to leap, you can crawl, you can tiptoe. You really can go small, and you can not discount any of that effort because it all builds up and it all matters. So yeah, I'm going to stop rambling now. I've kind of gone off on one. So yeah, guilt shame cycles, the all or nothing patterns. What we're looking for is, often we get trauma. With trauma we get chaotic patterns or rigid patterns, and actually we want is what Segal calls the flexible flow, the little bit in the middle. Yeah, there's a lot of rewiring of the brain that needs to go on, new neural pathways that need to be built for us to be successful. And we do that with compassion, we do that with changing that shame narrative, and we do that by really reflecting what's really going on here. That first draft we make up isn't accurate. You're not rubbish or stupid because you didn't make it. Maybe you were tired, maybe you were overwhelmed, but what you can do is look at the second draft. Go a little bit deeper. What's this really about? Am I tired? Am I feeling scared? Am I feeling vulnerable? What support do I need? What resources do I need? What am I likely to do? The more you get to know yourself, the more you are able to kind of put in things that help you along the way. Like, I know I don't have as much energy for cooking in the evening. So this morning it all got slammed in the slow cooker. So I know that by the end of the day, I will have some food that I want to eat. In fact, I might even eat it at lunchtime, because I prefer to eat when I need the energy rather than at the end of the day when I'm maybe winding down a bit. So yeah, watch out for the all or nothing patterns, and watch out for the shame narratives, and start to notice when you're shaming yourself, the shoulds, must and ought tos. And actually, the more we notice, the more we can come off that autopilot, the more we can start to just inch our way into new patterns. It takes a huge amount of time to build a healthy habit, and you'll have lots of starts and stops. And relapse is part of recovery. It's part of growing, and so we can stop shaming ourselves. Lou, the diet lady, she'll know who she is, has a lovely saying: relapse and collapse. You don't have to relapse. You have to collapse with the relapse. Yeah, I think that's right. I might have got that slightly wrong. So yeah, a long video. I've not done one for a long time. If you've watched it to the end, well done. Most people only have an attention span for about 30 seconds, so give yourself a reward for taking the time to listen and watch. I'm going to go now because I've got to zoom in about 30 minutes, and I'll catch up with you another time. My first video in a long time, a long one, but hey ho, you know I like a gas. Bye.